These are 10 reasons why California Superbike School is the best school in the country. Number 1, it has the most organized training program I've ever seen. Number 2, the certification process and quality of instructors are second to none. Number 3, the fact that they provide full gear and the bike is amazing. What I mean by full gear is like what you would wear to a track. Full one-piece leather suit, helmet, gloves, boots, everything. And a brand new BMW S1000RR. Of course, if you have your own gear and your own bike, you could bring that as well, but they do offer everything for you where you could just fly to a location with just the clothes on your back and they will have everything else for you. Number 4, the amount of time on the track that you get and feedback of what you need to work on is incredible. Number 5, you get assigned a personal coach with a 2-to-1 instructor ratio for all your track riding and debriefs. Number 6, the caliber of all classroom instruction, top notch. Number 7, the amount of cool stuff they have available on top of the normal course is pretty awesome. They have the no BS bike, the lean bike, slide bike, braking bike, video bike, etc. Number 8, California Superbike School has been around for 44 years with Keith Code starting the school in 1980. Since then, they have had over 150,000 students attend in 33 countries at 118 tracks on every continent except Antarctica, with over 13 million miles in the process. Number 9, they have 4 levels of training addressing everything from common errors, problem with vision, brakes, body position, line selection, timing, and so on, with level 4 being completely custom designed for each rider. For level 4, they can create an entire program uniquely for that rider. So you're assigned an on-track coach as well as a consultant that will coordinate with your on-track coach to give you one-on-one attention for your riding. So I asked the main instructor about this, as in charge of all the other instructors. He's like, yes, level 4 is a completely personalized program just for you. He said there are over 200 additional training lessons that can be taught and practiced depending on what that rider needs. That's pretty damn awesome. And number 10, so the last reason why I think California Superbike School is the best school in the country is besides all the track time and all the amenities and everything they provide, everybody you meet is kind, professional, and just amazing people. The camera guy, the mechanic, the lady doing the announcements, everybody you come in contact with is excited to be there, and you can really tell they give a crap that you're there and they love their job so much, it's like contagious. Plus the amount of times during a break or walking from the track back to the classroom or from the classroom to the track or at lunchtime or before lunch or after lunch, the amount of times I could just go up to all these people that are so highly certified and such good riders and just ask them questions is just awesome. So I personally went up to Dylan Code. I probably asked him 10 things before even day 1 even started. Just like, hey man, I got a question about this. What about this? What about slicks on the street? And how about this? And hey, what do you think about that? Or I've heard this before. And just totally patient, want to answer questions, and they don't just give some BS answer like, oh, just do this. They really go in depth with what the heck you're talking about. And there's a bunch of times where I was asking something like earlier in the day, and then they came back up to me, Dylan Code or somebody else, they came back up to me like, you know what, I thought more about what you said, and I talked to this guy about it, and he has a more well-rounded answer than what I gave. So let me go introduce you to this guy, and he's gonna explain a little bit more. Like, that is above and beyond just normal customer service. They didn't have to do any of that stuff, but I was like, man, amazing class. So now that you know the 10 reasons why I think the school is the best in the country, let me help you give you a little bit of a background of how I came to this conclusion. And to do that, you have to know a little bit about me. So my name is Greg. I was in the Marines for 11 years, and out of all the duties I had, I was a martial arts instructor, a swimming instructor, and a drill instructor. Just like Full Metal Jacket, like that was me for 4 years. So I've been riding since 2013. I became a motorcycle instructor about a year after I started riding, teaching the beginner all the way through advanced level courses with total control training here in California. I also helped teach Moto Ventures Level 1, and I was even invited to help teach American Super Camp to 30 Marines on Miramar Air Base, which is what I did. So I did that for about 8 years. I was teaching 4 to 5 days a week and then going to school at night until I started my own business called MotoJitsu. And that comprises of a whole bunch of things: my YouTube channel, Patreon, my books, my app, all my affiliate links, and blah, blah, blah. So you can look in the description if you want a whole bunch of links to all that stuff. stuff. So I've ridden hundreds of track days so far, and I personally have attended 26 different motorcycle courses, and I have over 500,000 miles on a motorcycle so far. So it's safe to say I have a pretty good amount of experience as both a student taking classes and teaching classes. And I've seen it all. I've been to classes where I'm like, this instructor is amazing, this class is awesome. And I've also been to classes where I'm like, who the hell is that guy? What is he even saying? And what are we doing right now? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So I've seen both extremes. So based on all that experience, California Superbike School, to me, is the #1 school in the country. So like I said earlier in my top 10 reasons, so California Superbike School provides everything for you. And keep in mind, I did the 2-day camp, which is level 1, immediately followed by level 2. If you want to take the single day, like level 1 as a single day, it's less expensive. The instructor ratio is not 1 to 2, it's 1 to 3. And you only have 5 sessions on the track versus 7 in the 2-day camp. And there's about 20% more riders on track than what is at the 2-day camp, which is only 16, which is super low. Also, you don't get a chance to ride the camera bike at the single day class. So let me just paint a picture about how both days went, level 1 and level 2, and what I did and what we did and a couple of cool things that I learned. So day 1, which was level 1 for me, was incredibly organized and planned just as you would expect. Once you go into the building, you have snacks and coffee and fruit and everything you imagine. You sign up, you do the waiver if you need to, or if you mess something up like I did, I had to do it over again. And then you get a little sticker, a printed sticker of your name, what group you're in, and the number of the bike that you're assigned to put on side of your helmet. And they're like, okay, the first session is gonna start pretty soon, so go get fully dressed and be back here at this time. And we're gonna get rolling. I was like, all right, thanks. Never once did I feel lost, not know where to go, not knowing what to expect or what I should be doing, just very organized and planned, like the best. So once we all got into the classroom and we were all dressed, they did a quick introduction of the staff, everybody, the logistics people, the camera guy, how to get on and off the track, the safety brief, all the different flags and what they mean. And then since there was a couple different groups, like some people there that were for level 4, they're like, okay, level 1 people stay here. Level 4, you're going with Keith Code over to that trailer over there. You guys head out. And then right away, bam, we start the class. There was no long drawn out, hi, my name, this guy is Jason. He won a whole bunch of awards and he's the fastest guy in the world. And nobody cares, honestly. It just, they cut all out all the BS. Just like, these are all the instructors. Hi, my name is John. This is Brad. This is George. This is Tiffany. This is Monica, whatever. Just bam, 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 bam. These guys are the coaches. These guys are the support staff. Any questions, go talk to that guy, that girl, or that guy. And they got the hell out of there and then started the lesson right away with Dylan Code. And this was awesome. So the very first class by Dylan Code, I wish I could have just recorded it because it was such good information. I was trying to take notes. I have 7 pages of notes. I was trying to take as much notes as I can, but I was like, oh man, this is such good information. So he is a really good instructor. Like I said, I've been teaching for a while. Plus, my education is in psychology and public speaking, and I was in the Marines, the drill instructor. So I know how to teach pretty good. He is top tier. So while he's teaching, he has a dry erase board that he could draw things out and explain things and write things down and ask us questions, everything. Then right next to the dry erase board, he has a TV monitor, and he has a whole folder filled of a whole bunch of pictures and animations and videos of riders and racers demonstrating and showing exactly what the heck he's trying to show us. Whether it's a camera inside somebody's helmet looking at their eyes, or a video of them braking or trail braking, or when they get off the brakes onto the throttle, just perfect examples for visual learners and auditory and everything, like every type of media you could imagine. Just the verbal communication skills, the dry erase board, drawing stuff, wiping things off, and then the TV of video of people doing exactly what it was. And then he even got the little marker and drew on the TV itself. I never seen anybody do that, but it's good. It's like, okay, I want you to watch right here. Watch the relationship between the steering axis and the thing. You see it wobbling, or watch his eyes, or look at the apex, or whatever. It was awesome. Every single class was from Dylan Code himself for both days. Absolutely phenomenal instructor. No notes, no nothing, just he knows what the hell he's talking about. And during the class, it wasn't like just rigid and we're just listening to a robot. Like he's asking us questions, very interactive. If I had a question, oh, what about this? Can you explain this more? Is this what you mean like that? What do you think about this? Like it's very interactive, more of like a small group discussion because there's only like 7 of us in level 1 anyway, versus like a lecture like in college, like the instructor's way over there, everybody's just there quiet, no one can say anything, very formalized. It was formalized and organized, but what I mean is more of a discussion versus like a lecture. You know what I'm saying? You know what the difference is, right? So that's how it was for both days, and it was awesome. So after the first lesson, our group of 7 or whatever it was, we broke up into 2 groups and we went onto the big skid pad right outside the track. And we just did a basic steering drill just to understand, what we're doing and for people who could see like where we're at. Some people, he'd never been on a track before. Other people have a little bit more experience. One guy, he hasn't ridden in a while, but again, they provide the bike and gear and everything for you. So they get everybody on the bike just to see where they're at, which makes sense. And the first session we're out on the track, it was 4th gear, no brakes. So we're just working on, so at the end of every classroom, we have one specific topic we're learning, then you have one thing to think about, do, and practice out on the track, which is really, really good because it just lets us focus on one thing, not 30 things, one thing. So the very first session, 4th gear, no brakes. And it's to work on the timing, because a lot of people, they over slow or they want to get on the throttle too soon. So that just teaches people a whole lot of different things that they just taught in that first lesson. Plus, the very first session, like, again, some people have never been on a track before, haven't ridden in a while. There was no talk about, oh, you have to move your body like this or do that. Some people were neutral for 2 days straight. They didn't move your body whatsoever. I've been to that track many times before, and I'm used to bike position, so I was doing that. No problem either way, which makes sense because if someone's brand new, we don't want them to start thinking about right away, oh, you have to hang off the bike and they're going really slow around the racetrack. What difference does that make? Who cares? The purpose is to learn and practice what we just got taught. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by the organization and the planning and how they do things. It's very, they build you up like a snowman, right? They give you a little bit at a time, you keep building up, and it just extends all the way through day 1 into day 2, level 1, level 2, level 3, and then level 4. But man, it's really, really good the way they do this. Out of everything else I've ever done, I think this the most logical way, is the safest way, and it forces people to do and practice what we're talking about. And the coach that you're assigned to, he's out there with you doing a lot of lead follow. He'll follow you for a little bit. He'll jump in front of you. He'll demonstrate things with his hands while riding around at whatever pace you're able to ride at. If you're a pretty good rider and you're riding fast, he'll ride in front of you one-handed, showing you the stuff, doing this, doing that, riding around. He'll let you go in front, you pass him up, and you're riding around. And it's like that every time you're on the track. Amazing. So that's pretty much how the rest of the day went. You get something, you learn something in the classroom, you go practice on the track. Oh, right after, this is my favorite part, right after you get done riding, you park your bike in the assigned spot, because everybody's provided bikes and a lot of people use them. Then immediately you go to the little table and you're there with your instructor, 2-to-1 ratio, and you get debriefed about what he saw on the track. And there's a track map taped to the table. He's like, okay, for this corner doing this, how would this work out? What did you find? What was nervous? Did you do this? And it's like a 10-minute conversation back and forth. And there's only 2 of us, my buddy and me, right? We're just talking about this. He does him. Then I ask questions about that. He's drawing on the map. He do whatever. Incredible. Because that is what you want. You want feedback. You don't want a cheerleader like, oh, you're doing pretty good, bro. Good job. Or you don't want somebody randomly walking next to you as you're taking your helmet off. You still have your earplugs in. Like, oh, how'd I do? It's like, oh, yeah, that one corner over there, you're late with this, or your line was messed up. It's like, what? 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 So the simple thing of just having the map taped to the table, and we could debrief for a good 10 minutes directly after every session is amazing. Like, I wish more people would do that. Now that I've experienced that, everybody else needs to step up their game. And that was just the first session, right? So 4th gear, no brakes. The next time was 3rd and 4th gear. The next time was like 3rd and 4th gear light brakes, and then 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gear medium brakes. And then at the end of the day, it was like your choice. Any brake you want, or as much brakes as you want, any gear you want. Because again, they're just building people to use more and more of the brakes, more and more speed, more and more power, brakes, light brakes, medium brakes, because they want you to focus on what the heck they're trying to teach you, which will eventually build up to the point at the end of day 1. I was going faster than I have ever gone on that track. And I've been to Champ School 3 times on that track and did 2 track days on that track. Like just a normal track day at Streets of Willow Spring. I've never gone that fast on the track before, because it's like, what information are you getting that's relevant that could actually help you improve? And how do you know you're improving? Lap time, maybe, or you're just taking more risk. But at the end of the day, when I was doing consistent 128 lap times, which I guess is pretty good on that track, but I didn't feel like I was trying too hard. That's the thing. Like, I remember going for a track day there and I was like, man, I'm really trying to push and go fast, but I was just getting worn out. I was making a lot of mistakes. I was kind of freaking myself out. So when I was doing the 128 consistent lap times, it didn't feel like I was actually trying too hard, because I had specific things to work on throughout the whole day. And by the time the afternoon came, where we could use any brake or any gear we want to, and we learned all the stuff all day with all this feedback, flying, right? The speed isn't the goal, it's the technique and the things to learn. The speed is a natural byproduct of all of that stuff. And it just is exactly how I just said it. The speed just came naturally with better techniques. So my coach was James, right? Incredible rider, former racer, and he has been teaching at California Superbike School for 22 years. This dude was awesome. 2 days hanging out with them. The instructor, he didn't change between level 1 and level 2. He was with us the whole entire time for both days for the 2-day camp, which is amazing. So let me tell you about the instructors at California Superbike School. And this is one of the biggest reasons, honestly, about why I think this is the top school in the country. And I have this whole thing. I'm just going to read it to you, right? So listen to this. They have to undergo an intensive selection and training program before being allowed to coach students, as you would expect. Coaches must pass several technical exams before undertaking an on-track apprenticeship. Their riding skills, on-track observations, and communication skills are all evaluated and honed in before even taking their first student. So I asked Dylan Code about this specifically, about how to become an instructor at California Superbike School, and you're not going to believe this. So listen to this. I'm just going to read what he said. He told me there are 5 different levels of coaches at Superbike School. The first one takes between 2 and 3 months to achieve, which means that they are okay to coach someone on track. There are 4 additional levels after that, which take between 1 to 2 years for each level. A fully trained coach to the highest level usually takes between 8 and 10 years full-time. And yes, my personal coach, James, is certified at the highest level, which is awesome, right? So that's like becoming a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You want the black belt to be the instructor because he has all the experience, all the knowledge, he knows what you're going through, and that's who the guy you want to be teaching you jiu-jitsu on day 1, right? You don't want someone that's a white belt with 2 stripes like, bro, who are you? Where's the black belt at, right? So 8 to 10 years is like black belt to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So to become the highest level certified person, 8 to 10 years. Keep this in mind. So for comparison, to teach the beginner course in the United States, no matter where you are, what state you go to, either it's MSF or Total Control, whatever, it's 1 week-long training program. 1 week. And then you're off to train students. Brand new students who never rode a bike before ever. You could have only been riding 6 months, a year, and you take the 1 week training program, okay, you're an instructor. Go teach beginner students. You barely know the curriculum you're talking about, but yeah, go ahead and teach the beginner students. So keep that in mind next time you want to email me, oh, my MSF coach said this and you're saying that, blah, blah, blah. And it's not written in stone, dude. That guy went through 1 week-long training to become a coach, and he's teaching the basic stuff in the beginner course, which is like 8th grade information. Obviously, California Superbike School is like PhD level information. There's a vast difference. So sure, the individual coach or instructor might have more experience and knowledge, might have taken more classes, but just because someone has the word instructor across their damn shirt doesn't mean they're all knowing and all knowledgeable. So the same is true for so-called advanced level classes. Like just because someone is a racer, it doesn't mean they're automatically an amazing communicator or could watch what you're doing wrong and give you useful tips in a correct way to have you understand it. So just be very careful about different courses and the instructor status or racer status. That does not automatically mean they might be really good riders, may not be good instructors. So level 2 is pretty much a mirror image of level 1, meaning you're in the classroom, you're learning some really cool stuff, then you go on track and practice exactly what the heck you were talking about, and then after the track you go back to your personalized coach for feedback and debrief for like 10 minutes before you go to the classroom again and repeat the process. And level 2 is more about like your eye problems, like visual issues people have and how to provide steps to like correct that, which is amazing. One of the best things I learned about both days was vision, like a vision thing I'll talk about in a little bit. Trail braking theory and practice was also introduced and practiced at level 2. And I also learned something really cool about that as well I didn't know before. And also our group, we started to rotate onto the lean bike. So it's this bike with outriggers that stick out and they kind of bend a little bit just to practice bike position and vision issues out on the skid plate. Just so people have an extra layer of safety to actually try something and get into the right bike position without worrying about falling over. So later on in the day, I got to practice the brake bike. So this is a bike with, again, outriggers sticking out the side, and to practice like locking up the front tire, no ABS, like skidding the front tire, doing stoppies, doing whatever, to get the feeling of what that feels like and to learn how to recover from it without worrying about crashing your bike trying to learn how to do it, right? So I did about 3 laps, like down and back 3 times, so 6 runs. I practiced a brake going down, second gear, 35 miles per hour, braking coming back, right? So it got to the point where I was skidding the tire, then like doing a stoppie, than getting the tire back down and continuing to roll without downshifting or putting my foot down. So that comes from because I practice emergency braking a lot. I turn off my ABS, I go playing around, I skid the tire, do emergency braking all the time. That's something I really recommend everybody to do. So when I got onto that brake bite, I was like, oh, I'm kind of used to this. Like, I know what this feels like. I practice a lot, but man, what a tool that they have. So if they have that thing there, ask to jump on it. It's awesome. So one of the biggest things I learned in level 2, or pretty much for the whole course, is like 2-step vision, and then it goes to 3-step vision. So there's your turn point, like where you want to turn the bike. And once you know you're going to hit it, you look at your apex. Step 1, step 2. Once you know you're going to hit your apex, before you get there, look up at your exit zone, right? So you're giving your eyes something to do, and look on your intended path of travel, as Dylan Code says, right? So, but what if you can't see the apex because maybe you're going up a hill, maybe you're going around a blind corner or whatever else. So they introduced something I never heard before. It's like, oh, this is like, you got to your turn point, you can see that. Once you know you're going to hit your turn point, you look at your pre-apex. So this is what I'm talking about. Check this out. All right, so as you're approaching the turn point, which they put a big old duct tape X on the ground, and it's just a reference point, right, that doesn't move. So either you could turn after it, to the left of it, before it, you just experiment to see what works for you. So when you locate that you know you're going to hit your turn point, then you look towards the apex, 2-step turning. So there's the turn point. Before you get there, look at your apex, 1, 2, right? And 3-step is obviously before you get to the apex, look at the exit. But what if you can't see the apex because of the camber or a hill or a blind corner? So this is what pre-apex is. So check this out. So here's a video. This is Dylan Code. He's following me. So on this turn, this is turn 2 up at the top of Streets of Willow Springs. So you can see there's the X. So before I got there, I started looking. Now the apex is actually way over there, right? But I'm not going to look there because it's going to mess up my line. I'll probably turn it too early and get to the white line too soon, which will make my apex there whenever I'm closest to the inside of the apex. So like right now I'm looking at the ground, like right about here. And as I go forward more, my eyes shift. It's a fluid motion of your eyes. I'm not doing this. So like if I'm right here, like where Dylan is, like I'm looking, I know I'm going to hit my turn point. I'm looking like around here. I'm not looking way over here, because a lot of people tend to look at the inside white line and it makes them turn too early, or they look way over there, then they just mess up their line completely because they can't see the rest of this. So like right here, turn my head and I'm looking here. Here's my pre-apex for right now. But as I go, now my pre-apex is still, I'm like looking right there. If I was Dylan, right, I'm looking over there. But if I'm Dylan Code, my pre-apex is a cement. It was right here where I am. But as I move forward, my pre-apex is the ground right over here somewhere. And as I continue to go, now I can actually locate the apex, which is, you see how the white line is all messed up? So this area is generally where most people are closest to the inside, so that's the apex. So your eyes just kind of fluidly go through there. Now check out, that's turn 2, I think, and then going down to turn 3, another perfect example. So the apex is like way the hell over there, right? You can even make this a double apex, but I'm not going to look way over there because I'm going to miss a lot of stuff. So you got the X on the ground. Before I get to the turn point, I'm going to look at the pre-apex, which is the ground right about there. Not at the white line, maybe 2 feet over from the white line on the track. So there's the X, right? So like I'm looking like, this is me. I'm looking like right here at the ground, like identifying like where I am, like the pre-apex, right? And that might be like 1 apex, you see how it's all worn out, like the number 1. And I'm looking at the ground right here. If I'm Dylan Code, I'm looking like right above me. And then right here with that little squiggly line, it could be like the 2nd apex. Then I'm at apex, now I'm gonna get there. So now I'm looking up towards the exit. So I'm looking at the ground. I'm not looking way up there. I'm not looking at the clouds. I'm not looking at that building. You're looking on your intended path of travel. So I'm looking up here, identify the next turn point, which is over there, right? Before I get to the X, I'm looking over here. The apex is kind of way over here. So again, looking at the pre-apex, which is the ground right there. And as I move, like looking at the as I move forward more until I locate where the apex is, which is right about there, my eyes move. Like it's just you're trying to do like a nice steady stream of your eyes going through, looking. Then when I know I'm gonna hit the apex, like I'm no longer looking at the ground, obviously I'm already looking up there. So if I'm Dylan Code, I know I'm going to hit the apex, so my eyes are also jumping up and looking ahead. So that concept of, because think about twisty mountain roads. You're going through a right-hand turn, it's a blind turn. I don't know where the hell, like where it's going. So starting to turn, so besides just looking at the mountain or the white line or the yellow line, all these places I don't want to go. That's not my path of travel where I want to end up. So just look at the ground beforehand And so you can actually get a visual of where you want the bike to go. And you're just picking out, okay, there's about where I want to turn the bike, and there's about where I want the apex to be, or pre-apex and apex, turn point, apex, exit. And then start 3 things, turn point, apex, exit, turn point. And that was like a lot of level 2, day 2. You're just working on your visual skills. And that's been a thing I've been struggling with forever. I'm always looking at the apex as I roll over it because I didn't really have a strategy or a plan of where to look, because people are just like, well, just look up the track. Okay, at what? Something off track? Am I looking at that tower way over there? Am I looking at the bush for reference? Like, look on your intended path of travel. But that pre-apex thing got my eyes moving up ahead with something specific to look at. And then, okay, there's the apex. Awesome. Now where's the exit area? And that really, really helped out. That was one of the biggest things I learned and took away from the class for sure. There's probably 10 things, but that was probably number 1, as well as throttle control. So that's pretty damn cool, right? So that really helped big time with my overall riding. Like, it gave my eyes something to do instead of just kind of frantically looking like where am I supposed to look? Now there's a detailed plan. Turn point, pre-apex, apex, exit zone, turn point. It's just my brain, my eyes know what to do, and I know what to look for, and it keeps me focused on my intended path of travel, as if there's a perfect yellow line painted across the ground that only I could see exactly where I want my tires to go. Another really cool thing I learned is, like, so bikes, motorcycles, bicycles are upside down pendulums. So like, if I'm on a rolling chair right now, right? If I want to go left, I have to push off the right. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. If I want to go right, I have to push off the left. If I want to go backwards, I push off my forward. If I want to go forward, I got to push off the back, just like boxers do, right? If you want to move backwards and not get knocked out, you push off your front foot. So bikes are upside down pendulums. So you have to, like, if I'm holding a baseball bat, right, I'm balancing it. If I move my hand to the right, where does the baseball bat fall over to? Well, to the left. Well, the bikes are the same way. So Dylan Coe did this really cool example of what the heck I'm talking about on a little motorcycle he brought into the classroom, and I tried to recreate it. So let's check out that video real quick. So this has everything to do with counter steering, right? You want to go left, you push left, the bike leans to the left, and then you go to the left. But a lot of people don't understand that. They're not aware of what they're doing, so hopefully this will help. So another thing Dylan Coe was talking about, so counter steering, right? I made a bunch of videos about this. You're always counter steering. Most people just aren't aware. So if you try to push down, the handlebars aren't going to turn because they don't go up and down. But if you just push a little input going forward, handlebars turn. Super simple. So if you want to go left, you push left. And it's like, okay, I want to go that way, but the handlebars are turned that way. What gives, right? So the moment you push, you're going to start to lean in that direction. And because of the shape of the tires, that's the direction you're going to go. So if I push left, the bike will lean, and then watch what happens because I'm rolling forward. I push the handlebar forward, I destabilize the bike, upside down pendulum, I destabilize the bike, and as I start to roll, because I'm moving forward at the time, look what happens. The handlebars turn into the direction you're going. I'll show you again. I want to go left, I push left. The motorcycle leans, or the bicycle, it's the same exact thing, and as I roll forward, the wheel does turn in the direction you want to go. That's the caster effect, right? So if you want to go left, you push left and you keep on leaning until you get to your desired lean angle. Then you have to stop pushing to allow the handlebar to turn back into the direction you're going. And unless you're like on a super slow-mo camera, and the slower you go, the more of an effect you'll be able to see this. The faster you go, it's just so minute. You're not going to be able to see the handlebars. The handlebars aren't going to go like this, and then it goes like this, and then it goes like that. It all happens in one motion. So I'll act like I'm in slow motion. You push, starts to lean. I'm done pushing, it turns. You see how slight that was? It's just barely anything, and that's still going 1 mile per hour. If I'm going 80, do you think you're going to see this? You're not going to see it. But if you want to be precise, now if you're on a sport bike and your arms are like this, there's already a lot of wasted energy going down at that angle. And again, down does nothing. So the more you get your forearms parallel to the ground, the more efficient your turning will be. You see what I'm saying? So if you're riding a sport bike like this, you're wasting probably 60% energy of your steering. Get your arms parallel to the ground so when you push, the bike will respond instantaneously. So here, 3 miles per hour. I'm going, I push, it destabilizes, and the wheel turns. It's just that quick. So go out and practice yourself. This is all you have to do. You don't have to believe anything I say. Go on top of a mountain road, Take off, get the bike into second, third gear, right? No more clutch. Take your hand off, put it on your leg. Here comes a left-hand turn. Either you know counter steering or you don't. How do you go left? Either you push left, but your hand's on your leg. So what do? You pull right. Pulling right is the same as pushing left. So if you can make it through some turns one-handed, you really know how to counter steer. If that freaks you out and you have no idea what you would even do if you were in that situation, you don't know what counter steering is. And you're not aware of what you're doing. And the more aware of what you're doing, the more precise, efficient, and effective your riding will be. If you're not trying to like do crazy things like pull the handlebar or push down or do anything to make the bike lean, like, oh, I want to go that way, I just push. And the bike will just do it effortlessly, right? Go practice. So that's just a couple things I learned about this class, right? If I went through all 7 pages of things I've learned about this class, this video would be 3 hours long. But just understand, there's so many different things. There's so many different light bulbs and aha moments where I have enough things, like I can't wait to go out on the street and practice all this stuff into my everyday riding. But there's just so much stuff. People ask me like, okay, courses are expensive, right? So everybody spends money on something. You spend money on gear, gear's expensive. But the worst time to wish you put on your good gear with the armor inside of it is right before you hit the ground and you're wearing a damn t-shirt, right? The worst time you wish you would have taken a class, like a high-level class, an actual high-level class, is right before you go into a corner too hot and you have no idea what to do. You're panicking, you're just target fixated on the guardrail. That's the worst time to wish you would have invested, saved some money up, and took a damn course. So it's an investment of yourself. It's not a waste of money. It's absolutely worth it. I promise you, it's 100% worth it. So just keep that in mind. Everybody spends money on something. A lot of people aren't aware of what they spend their money on. People waste hundreds of dollars a weekend on just going out to eat and food and movie tickets and going out for drinks and everything else. But at the same time, they say I don't have enough money for gear or take a course or whatever else. It's just excuses. If you want to learn, nothing will stop you. Even if you have to do something extra to make extra money just to save it to take a course, people do that because the people that do that are really people who want to learn and be able to ride a long time with constant improvement. And it sucks to suck. If you're not that good of a rider, you're going to spend a lot more time in the hospital and pain and bills and everything else, crashing your brains out, paying for a new motorcycle, everything else. Just get in front of it. Just take more courses and buy better quality gear. And your fun will go up, the chance of you crashing will go down, and the better you get, the more fun you'll have, guaranteed.